Manime, are you really gonna shit talk ReZero again? Goddamn right I am. So look, I have this really weird relationship with ReZero. I was totally on the hype train of ReZero when it was coming out originally. I made videos on it, I talked about it constantly, and hell, I worshipped the show in live streams, and no one cared. Then I made one video talking about how I thought the ending wasn't that great, and that was the one that went viral. Well, viral for my channel back when it was that size. I'm not the bad guy here. You guys made me the bad guy. Actually, maybe it was more so YouTube that made me the bad guy. Fun fact, I do actually stand behind everything I said in that video. So if you thought I'm changing my opinions on that, you're wrong, I'm not. I still think the ending of season 1 was pretty shitty. But that doesn't mean that I don't love this anime. I do. Frankly, I'm probably a bigger fan than you are. But there is no denying that this show does know how to piss me off sometimes. Look, I'm just trying to be real with you guys. I don't expect you guys to agree with me in this video. I just want you to understand my perspective on the show. So to get to my point, let's talk about the main feature of the show that just makes me want to rip my hair out. Half-baked ideas. Now I know that may sound like I'm shitting on the originality of the show, but that's actually the opposite of the problem that I have. This anime introduces some insanely creative ideas and then does the least possible interesting thing with them. I'm gonna work my way through 3 really creative ideas that the show plays with, and then explained why they haven't been properly implemented and how they could be improved on. And I'm going to work my way from the least offensive one to one that was so potentially good that, frankly, it could have had its whole own anime. So we'll get to that one soon. Also, obviously enough, spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't watched ReZero Season 1, like, seriously, why are you watching this video if you haven't watched ReZero Season 1? Go fix that. So let's start with Subaru's ability. Basically the ability to die and respawn at a set location in time. Now this one, I'm not gonna shit on too much just because this one is by far the best explored option, and it's also still open to further exploration later on in the 2nd season. But I feel like there is a bit of a lapse in how he abuses said ability. I feel like the obvious way to abuse it is to physically train yourself so you know you can actually fight back, and if you didn't train hard enough, well, now you die, at least while fighting this time, and get to keep stacking your training. Sure, you probably can't physically increase your strength this way, but at least you can perfect your technique, making Subaru be, at the very least, not a complete pushover. I mean, I do enjoy how he abuses it for knowledge and manipulating other people into helping his cause, but there are some definite things he could practice if he abused his ability in a constructive way. I know, killing yourself over and over again is terrible, but I'm talking more specifically when he's going to die anyway from the pure difference in power. But like I keep reiterating, this is definitely the least offendable idea. It's just not a super big deal, and they really do explore some creative uses for this idea. Now let's go ahead and move on to one that actually kind of pisses me off. And that is the character of Bethel, or Bethel. I don't really know what his name is. The Sin of Sloth. More on my complaints about that detail a little later on. Imagine a villain who's not really a being of sorts. In other words, once he is killed, his soul travels to another person that meets a specific set of requirements and is capable of fighting again at full force. What a monster to be reckoned with. That is such a crazy good concept to be explored and deep dived into, and he's dead in season 1 with nothing really to show for it. Oh god, what a letdown. This is such a creative idea that could make such a seemingly impossible to defeat villain. And then he ends up being nothing special. Like, his actual character is generic as hell. Look, I know there's actually a lot of people who worship the shit out of him. Sean. But come on, man, can't we just all agree that he's just a generic psycho? Like, there is never any depth given to his insanity, and he's frankly quite boring. What about this? Imagine instead of this character, who, by the way, doesn't even really have any combat ability, was replaced with a character like Reinhard, someone who is insanely powerful with magic. Maybe give him this crazy logical genius character trait who is also a controlled psychopath. Then have all the characters band together to fight him, only to find out the first time that you kill him, that's actually not how you beat this guy. He's just going to take over another body and make that person just as powerful. God, that kind of villain would be genuinely terrifying and demand our attention. Instead, we got Mr. Generic with a cool power that he can't even really use properly. And it's not like my version of the character would be impossible to beat. You just need to capture him and imprison him, then find a way to keep his ass alive. Like, boom, what a fantastic, unique first major villain. I feel like the Sloth Sin character wasn't fully developed. Speaking of which, why is he the Sloth Sin? I don't know about you guys, but he seems pretty active for someone who's supposed to be slothful. Not to mention, can we just not with the 7 deadly sins thing? Like, I am so burned out with this trope. I feel like Betelgeuse was fine being just Betelgeuse and nothing else. Like, maybe have him be a member of a secret organization, just don't make it 7 deadly sins themed or Chinese calendar themed. Those tropes have just been beaten into the ground, and there's literally no advantage to doing this unless you have zero intention of actually making your villains unique in any way. And this is actually a compliment because Betelgeuse was plenty unique enough to not have to rely on those generic ass tropes. And now, finally, time for my favorite idea from ReZero that was then used in the most bland way possible. The white whale. Oh my god, this is such an ingenious mystical creature that is then promptly severely underused. A creature that if you are killed by it, it doesn't just kill you. It basically erases you from existence. When I first heard of this concept, my mind began racing with all kinds of crazy ideas on how to implement a creature like that, only to be utterly disappointed. Like, here, I'm just gonna give you guys one of my ideas. Imagine an anime that starts with 4 heroes slaying the white whale. Then you just tell the story backwards and you slowly begin to understand that there were way more than 4 heroes. They were just the 4 who lived. And then the whole show can be done in a way that never explains the power of the white whale. I mean, after all, how would anyone actually know how it works considering its power? The show could be this psychological thriller where there are so many things that just don't make sense, and it seems like something is extremely off about all the characters, only to reveal in the end what the whale's power was. I mean, I would love a show like that, and that's just one of my ideas. I had plenty of other ideas that I still think would have been better than Who's Rim? God, that's such a meme now, and I love it. Like, it was an okay way to use the whale's power, but come on. That's such a weak use of such a fantastic idea. Look, I'm not trying to shit on ReZero for having bad ideas, because that's absolutely not the case. They have some truly fantastic ideas that are unique and could introduce crazy new villains and plot lines. But these ideas just aren't developed to their fullest potential, and that kind of sucks, man. Look, I love that they are at least going the extra mile with all of these creative ideas, but at least implement them in equally creative ways. That's all I want, and if they did that, this would easily be my favorite anime of the year. It might be, because there hasn't been many anime out there, but it would be easily my favorite anime of all time. One of my favorite anime of all time. Not my favorite, but it would have been up there. I got really distracted there, but thank you guys for watching. Manime, why do you keep shitting on anime that everyone likes? I don't know, man. It's just what I do now. It seems like. No. I don't really mean that. I do really believe what I'm saying, and I really think that ReZero has so much potential and could easily become one of the best anime out there. And it's super popular, don't get me wrong, that's not the problem. I just feel like it's so close to that goal. If it just develops its ideas further, it could really be just something immaculate, and instead it's something that's pretty damn good. Which obviously isn't bad, it's just not as good as it could be. And I realize this, I don't plug it enough, but I'm on Twitter a lot. If you guys are on Twitter, make sure you follow me. I'm usually shit talking ReZero there and a lot of other anime, so you can kind of get a preemptive strike of what kind of anime I'm watching and probably what my videos are going to be on. Either way, huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are my heroes. Please make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys stay man and go watch that goddamn anime.